Hello, Keith here with Math Fun and Games. Today we're going to play MBT. We're doing the very first scenario. It is the basic scenario. We're using all the basic rules, and I've added some advanced rules. The advanced rules I've added just are just the AP direct fire rules, advanced rules, and the hull down advanced rules. I have a copy of the rules that I'm using. I have a copy of the MBT rulebook with the rules that I'm using in the description. So you can just click on that and you can read just the rules I'm using for this scenario. I've broken down the advanced rules into 6 different parts. I'm going to play one game, adding more rules as I go along and changing and highlighting more rules in that rule book. Then I'm going to do the same thing after I've covered all the advanced rules. I'm going to do this same thing for all the optional rules. Once again, MBT, it is the same game as Panzer. If you know it, Panzer, if you know MBT, you know Panzer. However, and this is a big caveat, since MBT is set in 1986, MBT has some more things added to it because tank warfare in 1986 was more complex because of all the and more advanced technology. So we're adding in MBT more use of the stabilization rules. They play a bigger factor. We're adding things like anti-tank weapons, anti-aircraft, more helicopters, and various types of advanced armor. You're adding different things, and of course, the penetration factors and the armor in general. The vehicles are better quality in MB 1986 compared to World War II, and the MBT rules reflect that. So I'm going to start. We're on turn 2. We are on the fire phase, and the Soviets have won the initiative. I'm going to start with this unit on a hill. Okay, I have to find ones that have the fire command. Did I already? I think no, I'm sorry. I already did the fire phase. All right. So that's why these units don't have the fire command. They just have the fire spotting because we already fired. So now because the Soviets had the initiative, the NATO goes now, which in this case, NATO are American vehicles. So it's the NATO movement phase. And I'm going to start over here in the far right. Zoom in, boom. And I got units, these 3 units right here. And they're all going to move as a group. I gave them one command. And I'm just gonna move them as one. They're gonna stay in that formation so they can maintain. I can still give them one command, just one command. Oops. Move them back. Ooh, I forgot where they were. Go up. Okay. I think they were about there. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and actually want to get these units on the road because then they can use the road movement rate. Now I could just pull this one and just have him. You can stack up to 5 units in a hex in this game. I can pull him and have him go right there, and then have him move 1 unit further next turn. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to move him right here because I want to be able to. Oops! I want to be able to use the road movement rate for this entire group. So turn. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to do that free turn again, and there we go. So since next turn all these units would be in the same group anyways because they're within 1 hex of each other, the command radius. But even if this first group was ahead and there were 3 in a row, they could still use the same command as long as they remain on the road the entire turn. So I'm going to remove this command. I'm going to replace it with the move spotting command. And I don't want the move command. I want the move spot marker. And there it is. And these units have moved. Next, for the Americans, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to move this unit 5. So this right here is brush. And let's take a look. It's either brush or scrub. Let's take a look. And it's going to help once I learn these. So it's not brush. I think it's scrub. In which case the movement cost is 2. I want to be careful of those bog penalties. Bog. Okay, good. All right, so let me pause. I just want to double check. I want to be sure that okay, that is a scrub hex. Now either there's scrub in this version of the game, there's scrub and there's brush. If you look over here, this heavy green, that's scrub, and over here, this lower stuff, that's brush. The reason I say this is I think the scrub terrain, I didn't see it on the terrain charts for Panzer. I may be wrong. And another thing, they may be adding it to Panzer because they're coming out with the North African expansion, and my guess is that they're going to add some new terrain to that. Okay, so that's going to be 2. So he's going to -1 for going downhill, +2 to enter the new hex. So the total is 3. And I'm going to turn him to the right. Let's see. Yep. 4. Okay. I want to check something. I'm briefly going to touch on hull down here. So if you look in this terrain effects chart and you go down, there's a hull down column. If you roll, what you do is you roll a percentile dice. You get a number from 1 to 100. And you look in this column right here, and if you roll falls within that, you're hull down. You're hull down from the sides and the front. For hull down, you will see certain results that will have an asterisk by them, and those results will be ineffective because it's hull down. You can also go for partial hull down, which is easier. So partial hull down, that number would become 1 through 30 basically. Hull down is also affected by the size. In order to achieve hull down, you have to have a move command, and you have to spend all your movement points just searching for hull down in that hex. So I want to see if I can get that unit right there hull down, but he already moved, so he cannot achieve the hull down position yet. And he doesn't have enough. He already used 4, and it would cost him 2 to enter this hex, so his turn is over. Next, and we have to mark him with a move marker. Ooh, okay. Next unit is these 2 right here. All right. So they're both going to move. 1, 2. Oops. 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to turn right. So because these are sharing a command, they have to end up within 1 hex of each other at the end of the turn. So, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, turn right, move forward, 5. So I got those. They'll be able to use the road movement right next turn. I'm just going to clone this. By the way, thank you to Stiegler. He was the one that created these vassal modules. He did a fantastic job. In particular, I appreciate the fact that he added, if you go up here to File, and I believe well, for most of the games, he did the scenario setups, and he did a good job. I guess he did. I was watching the uh, No Enemies Here podcast, and he was on that, and like he was the one that did most, if not all, the work for the vassal modules, from what my understanding is, and he did a very good job, and I do appreciate the work he put into it. I just want to mention James Day, who created these games, and I really appreciate the work they've done. Now we're going to go on to the next American units to move. These two units right here, right? These two command tracks. They have 5. Now, if you look on the counter, well, I already went over this, so I'm not going. But if you look on the counter, it says 5T7-11. T means tracked. 5 is the cross-country movement rate. 7 is the path movement rate if your unit stays on roads and paths for the entire turn, and 11 is the road movement rate. So I want to see what the penalty is for leaving a gully. Let's see, turn. All right, and when I enter the gully, all right. So to enter a gully hex, it's 2. It's light cover, and I also would have had to have done a bog check. I didn't do it last turn, so I'm going to leave it now. Now, a bog check, all you do is you roll, and you have to roll within that range to be bogged down. So when this next, so he's going to go 1. I want to make sure I did the right thing. So gully, ditch. Okay, sculpture, stream. Okay, so it's not stream, it's just gully. Okay, so gully. Now, if you look across over here, right here, L are leg units, track and half track cost, and the wheeled cost. So the bog is 1 through 15. So I'm going to move this unit first. 1, 2, 3. And he's going to stop here. Hopefully this unit doesn't bog down. I'm going to roll a bog check. It has to be greater than 15 for me to preventing bogs. Okay, 49, so no bogs. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm just going to stop him right there. And I will mark these with the move marker. We'll delete that. I will clone this. And I will mark them with the move marker. So that's this next. So the next group is this group, oops, that you see right here. Pause for a second. My dog is talking. Okay, so I just looked something up, and the bog rules are an optional rule, so we're not going to be using the bog rules. So I'm going to take a look on the overview map here and see where we are tactically and where I want to move with these 3 vehicles. Do I just use the road movement rate? Okay, I'm going to send these units to the right of the math board or their left. Okay, excellent. So I looked something up. So the rule is, at the beginning of its move, in order to use the road movement rate, a vehicle does not have to be facing in a certain direction. So I'm going to do a left turn for this one. So I'm going to do a left turn here. Turn there. That's free. Now this is going to cost 1 movement point. Now I have 10 movement points left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I have a unit that's on Overwatch on this hill up here. Take a look. So you see this is the vehicle moving right here. I have a unit in Overwatch right here. And I'm pretty sure if I fire now, I won't have line of sight. So I'm going to going to see if I can do a quick line of sight hex on this board. Don't know if I can. Okay, I can. So I'm going to do a line of sight check. To see if that overwatching unit has a line of sight. So this is the unit on Overwatch. And it goes right here. Now the question is, does it cut across any blocking terrain? So it's good. So it goes down a continual slope. So it's on level 2, but it goes down continuous slope. Actually level 3. 3, 2, 1, 0. So that's continuous slope. So that won't create any issues. And I think it misses this woods hex. Let me zoom in. Just make sure. Okay, if you look closely, I'll go in even closer. It just barely misses that wood hex. So that unit, this unit has a line of sight to that unit. So that means it can take an Overwatch shot. So I'm going to zoom out. Now I'm going to determine the range. Make sure it's turned on. Excellent. So this is going to be a range of 11. Okay. And more importantly, well, let's do this first. Let's take the shot. So a range of 11. We have a T-72 AV. Range of 11, that's short range. So you have a short range shot. Then you go to table A. We have a short range shot. The modifiers. Target size is +1. You get that off the data card. Right. It's American. We have an M60A3. Right there, size +1. So the target size is +1. Target moving, yes. So +1 minus 2 is -1. No cover. -1. And it's Overwatch. So it's Overwatch. So now, do I have to do Overwatch adjust? In other words, does that vehicle have to turn its facing in order to fire? So I'm going to check on the line of. So the question is this unit firing through its front firing aspect? And yes, it is. So the only Overwatch adjustment here will be -1. Yeah, -1. It's not going to be -3 because it doesn't need to do Overwatch adjust. So it's -1. And then we have the size, which is +1, -2. So our total modifier is -2. So short range -2, I need a 56 to hit. 56 or less to hit. And 2, so that's a card over here. First, let's see what target facing hit at. So there's the vehicle right there that was hit. Now you notice right here, it's coming in from the rear side. So this is a rear side shot. So this is a rear side shot. So let's pull up the chart right here. And a 2, that's going to be a 0, 2. All right, so the first, okay, so the first number is where it hit. So 0, so rear side 10, so that's a track hit. And we're done. I just marked that with the track hit marker. Let's see if I can get track damage marker correctly. Let's turn off the last sight. And let's see if I can do track damage. Yeah, track hit. Boom. All right. Okay, so that's track hit. All right, so because that's a track hit, that unit cannot move for the rest of the game. It can still fire, but it can't move and it's immobilized. And I guess there are advanced rules that would affect that and have variable track damage. But I mean, there's an optional variable track damage rules. We're not using those here. Fortunately, that won't affect the other units being able to use their own movement rate, and they can just move on because that unit had track it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to do a right turn over here. And 11 onto that bridge. Oops. Right there. And the other unit right behind it is going to follow right along. And now that unit that fired is no longer on Overwatch. I have to mark it with a fire spotting marker. Oops. Or I could have used, just move that one over. That's what I'm going to do. There we go. Just share that marker. Okay, so now we're going to go over here. All right, and this other unit back here is going to follow along the same route. And it's going to be right behind that vehicle right there. And I will mark them with the move marker, a move spotting mark for spotting, and their turn is over. And also this unit, I think it's immobilized, so I don't think I'm gonna look at the. Alrighty, so let's see what other American units have movements. And one more thing to point out over here, because the firing unit had elevation advantage on the target unit. If I had rolled a 1 there, that would have been something called a deck hit. But it wasn't. We get a track hits. Now, let's see what other movements we have. I can remove that. I think we're almost done with the movement. I think we have just one more unit over there to move. We have this unit right here. Now, where does he go? I want to get him into a good position. So I want to see if I can do hull down somehow in that woods hex, that light woods hex. So I'm going to look. No, in order to do hull down, you have to spend your entire movement allowance. But that light woods hex would provide a cover modifier against fire. So let's go to light woods. So yes, it is possible to get hull down in light woods. Well, so it'll be 1 through 30, but because it's a large vehicle, there'd be a +5 to the dice roll. So I need 1 to 25 to get hull down. And if we were using bog rules, I would have to check for bog, but we're not using bog rules, so I'm not going to worry about that. So that he's just going to move, that unit's just going to move into the woods. And next turn, I'm going to try to get him to be hull down. And there we go. Mark him with the move marker, and we are done with the American movement phase. Now the Russian movement phase. Well, the Russians have 2 units here. Pull back a little bit. So what are those 2 Russian units going to do? Okay. So it'd be nice if they can get into cover too. So they can enter here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then they can try again to hull down next turn. Can you get into hull down in scrub? 1 through 15. No, you cannot get into hull down. Oh wait, scrub? Yes, you can. 1 through 15. So there is a chance they can get into hull down position over here. How would Gully? Well, if they were in Gully, they wouldn't be able to fire at all. What's happening over here is we're having a little gun battle, and the target of this, the goal of this gun battle is to win the gun battle, then capture these victory point hexes that's right next to them. The Americans are outnumbered. Well, at this point, they're outnumbered 4 to 3. So these 2 units, I want them to try to have some kind of chance. So they're going to... Okay, there we go. Turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn. 5, 6. And stop. And I'm going to check the scrub. Yeah, it does cost 2 to enter. Just going to double check my calculations if I could. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they'll have to stop there. And the unit right behind it is going to follow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could actually have this unit go to the same hex as that first unit. They'd just be parked right by each other. And that is actually what I'm going to do, I think. And then I'll remove this move marker right here. And I'm going to give them a move spot marker. Excellent. Okay. And this unit over here has a no command, so I'll just remove the no command. So now these units, big amount of units over here in the center. So this unit on the side, it can move 7, 1, 2, and to enter the woods. And that's going to be what type of woods? That's going to be normal medium woods. 3, 4, 5. And I probably want to stop him there because in the woods he has cover. And if I want to, I can try to find him hull down. 3, 4, 5. Yes. I would rather have him be in the hex next to him, though. I should have done that. I should have moved him to that hex and then right there. 3, 4, 5. What happens if I move him forward? I'm going to see what happens. 6, 7. Excellent. All right, so I have this unit on a hill. I want to get him into cover in that terrain. So I'm going to move right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And cannot move into that woods yet. So I'm going to turn 6, 7, and 6, and that's 7, and I get the 1. So he's going to go right there. I'm going to delete the move marker. Oops. And replace it with the move spot marker. I think we'll just clone this one. Clone and clone. Excellent. So right here and right here. Excellent. All right. Now I have these 3 units. I have 3 units under one move command, and then I have another unit under that move command. So I'm going to take this 1 unit that's by itself. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to do a turn. 5, 6. And that's it, because it would cost 2 to enter that brush hex or 2 to go downhill. Unfortunately, one of these units may have a shot at it. So I'm going to end the turn by rotating it. I'm going to delete. And I'm going to mark it with a spot marker. Spot move marker. And it's done. All right. Now we got these, last but not least, we got 3 units back here that I want to move. And they have to all end up within 1 hex of each other. Oops. Okay. So I'm going to post them on top of this ridge. 1, 2, 3. And this unit's going to go 1, 2, 3. And this unit has to end up within 1 hex of both these units. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have to be careful of how I mark these units. So I'm going to pause for a second while I mark these units properly. Okay, so if you notice in this vassal module right here, right, these dots, if there's a red dot, it's spot fire. And if it's a green dot, it's spot moved. So I'm just going to do that. And then I'm going to put a spot move marker by that and a spot fire marker. And I'm going to clone this to show that this will show that there's some type of movement. And I'm going to put a fire marker just to be aware that some of these units have fired. So we got some fire and some movement. Okay, so I believe that's it for this turn. I believe everybody moved. Yes, okay, everybody moved. All right. The last question I have is these two units, that unit right there in the red, it's facing in. Let me move this out of the way and show you. So this unit is in its wrong face. I don't want facing that way. So how and when can I change that target facing? Okay, so in order to actually change the facing of this vehicle, what I would do, I would use a short haul command and then rope pivot and then that. Right now we're not having turret markers, but this is considered to have a turret that's pointing in that direction. So in order to change the facing, the reason I would want to change the facing is because if I'm hit at a certain angle, then that might be a rear facing shot, and I don't want that. All right, so that's it for this turn. Turn 2. Thank you for your patience with me here. And next turn, things are going to be interesting again. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful day.